Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a new one. I actually didn't know this existed. This is Dank 7. So when I picked this one, I initially thought it would just be a hoppier version of Tank 7 from Boulevard, which already is a quite hoppy take on Saison. But this is actually a separate beer, but they're still using the kind of like Tank 7 kind of like branding with it. Obviously, you see that with this. This beer is obviously a lot smaller. It is only 7%, 55 IBU. It has 7 hops in it, and I believe they listed, yeah, Bravo, Chinook, Citra, Columbus, Mosaic, Simcoe, Topaz. So it's a little bit smaller than Tank 7, which is a big beer. It's like 8.5, I believe. And then they use the Belgian yeast, but they call this a Belgian IPA, Belgian style IPA. Which again, I think it's smart. Instead of like calling it something like let's say they call this Blue Rainbows. Sure. Blue Rainbows, Belgian style IPA. You know, you just create a new brand, which like again, like there's a reason why literally I just had Total Wine today. I don't believe I could find a single example of like Belgian IPA on the shelf. Unless like Le Chouffe is actually considered one, possibly. Anyway, but American example, like it's just so few and far between. The phenolics of the Belgian yeast and hops sort of clash. Most people like regular IPAs, but you make something adjacent to that and call it Dank 7, Tank 7. People love Tank 7 already. You know, everybody's doing it. They're doing it with the Too Hard brand. They're doing it with Voodoo Ranger. They're doing it with all the IPA. You know, like all the brands. Like it just makes sense. Like Rogue is doing with their guy. Like make it easier for the consumer, right? Wow. Canned about 2 months ago, and the Best Buy is about 5 months forward. Yeah, weird. A 5 month forward Best Buy. So 5 month forward Best Buy. I'm surprised not 6. They go all the way. So this is about 2 months in. They do 5 ways. So I'm less than midway in. Unfortunately, found on the warm shelf. I love the can. It's very pretty. I love the hops. Sort of has that hop slam kind of vibe going on with the green and all the hops going on, but they went with the same design as the Tank 7. Very curious. Very curious to see how this one turns out. Again, this was part of their innovation series where they obviously have a tap room with a huge brewery like Boulevard. Blah blah. People liked it, so they scaled it up. National distribution. Beer comes in a wonderful kind of a medium to deep gold color. Yeah, relatively close. I want to say color-wise to maybe Tank 7. Pretty nice. Slightly off-white head on the nose. Oh yeah, that smells good. Oh yeah, okay, let's go. Certainly dank and certainly a little bit phenolic, but like really, they did a great job at like pushing back on the phenolics. It really smells like those phenolics are actually like quite ethyl acetate, a little bit band-aidy, but it plays into the dank, right? A lot of times, just like from clean ale yeast strain, the hops get that kind of like plasticky, diesel-y dank thing. So it's like melding beautifully in that. So you get like a ripping, roaring kind of like green hop matter thing, right? Like just like green vegetal hop matter, heady topper kind of thing, right? Like with a little bit of that kind of like metallic, plasticky thing that heady topper does. Like, oh, fun. And it's, oh yeah. And then underneath you get a little bit more plasticky. So like you're like, oh wait, like it might just be a little bit more than hops, so you get a little bit of that kind of Belgian phenolic in there as well. But just ripping, roaring, nice hop qualities. Like 2 months in, this smells very fresh. A lot of like resin, pine, bright kind of like citrus oils, grapefruit. Dank. That's what it is. That's what it is. Dank. It's Dank 7. It's very dank as well. A lot of green. I call it green hop matter, but it's really green weed matter. It is. It has a lot of this kind of like, yeah, putting your face in a bag of marijuana, and then a little bit of kind of like plasticky hop thing that you sometimes get, but then like it plays with the Belgian thing as well. So it's like playing both sides of like hoppiness on that kind of like diesely dank thing, but also the plasticky phenolics. Cheers. Oh, that's good. Oh, it's killer. Why even bother calling it a Belgian IPA? I mean, I guess it is a Belgian IPA, but that's great. So what really you get here is actually quite tasty. First of all, it's just very, very tasty. But it's like sometimes you worry because it's like how do you guys word it? It's not like Belgian IPA. It's really IPA parentheses Belgian. The first thing I noticed, this is very just a tasty IPA. Wow, this is like lean, mean, hoppy. Wow. It's got this, almost this highlight kind of thing, like the closest thing I can imagine right now. It's just like highlight, lighter, a little bit Belgian up front, just saturated hop character. Hits up front, oranges, grapefruit. It's a little bit more fruity and a little bit more approachable on the palate than that big dank plasticky thing I was getting on the nose. Again, that kind of resiny character, that heady topper thing, where it just like saturates the palate with like not just hops on the tongue, but it just like sort of winds out, and you get this oily hop character. So I guess some big whirlpool additions, dry hop additions. Grapefruit, citrus, sweet orange, not all the way tangerine and ripe as highline, but really nice and citrusy. Dank up front, resonating hop character, a little bit of biscuity malt in the middle. The color is pretty appropriate, right? Not as sweet as like Sierra Nevada or maybe highline, but a little bit of that biscuity malt in the middle, a little bit like a very lightly toasted white bread. Then the phenolics sort of like hide there a little bit. It gets a really nice kind of dryness, assuming the Belgian uses attenuating spirit quite nicely. Yeah. And what the beautiful thing about it, again, the reason why I don't see Belgian IPAs is just, in general, the flavor just, again, I not only speaking about from my opinion, but just like the market's opinion, the flavors end up clashing. It's just, you either go all the way with the like Saison or Belgian character and just hop it a little bit, or you sort of make something like this and really make an IPA parentheses Belgian. When you really get the bandity, peppery thing, it just ends up clashing, especially with like American hops. I find. So here you really get just like huge expressive kind of like American hop IPA, like modern, dry, not too bitter, but expressive and saturated. And then get a little bit of this kind of dry Belgian plastic thingy, like, that kind of like a phenolic thing on the back end. But I tell you, if I was full blind, if nobody told me that was there, I would have just guessed that it was the dank diesel thing on the nose. And on the palate, it honestly is not noticeable. I highly suspect that most people blind tasted, we just wouldn't notice. Like it's barely there to really like notice the Belgian phenolics. It really is focusing on hops, and then even when the phenolics come in, the bitterness comes right in, right? So it's really not that much bitter of a beer for 7% IPA. It's a really solid like medium, maybe leading on medium plus lingering bitterness, but like really medium bitterness at best. I'm like a solid 2.5 months in, and this is tasting fresh. It is tasting great. Wow. I'm very curious what it tastes like on tap, like fresh. This beer is killer good. It's just a very, very, very good modern take on of IPA, and they really spice it up with just a little, again, like, it's like one of those things where you like get a whole brochure or ad, and then on the bottom with like the tiniest little font, it's just like, warning, prices subject to change, like whatever the things they say on the bottom. It really is just a very tasty modern take on IPA. Saturated. I do have a little bit chilled. I bet when it warms up, it's going to express a little bit of those phenolics a little bit more, but they're definitely not in the way. This is just in general a very tasty IPA. This might be one of the better beers I've had, better like commercial IPAs I've had in a minute. Like at least new ones. One of the best new products that I've had IPA wise. Jeez. Oh, here. Okay. Boy, this is good. I'm gonna give this one a solid 96 plus. 96 plus. This is very, very tasty. That's awesome. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Dank 7. Later.